I'm Cathy. I've been at Life Cycles for just under 2 years, and I'm one of the consultants. And I've been working on a few LCAs and more recently some EPDs. So I'm just going to go through how you can apply LCA in an EPD context. So what is an EPD? It's a public document. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's an environmental declaration of your product. It's quantitative. They're all published online and everyone can access them. There's a methodology that is meant to provide consistent results. There are a lot of standards that you have to adhere to and a lot of rules, and basically it's meant to provide consistent results across similar products. So if different people are doing the LCA and the EPD, the results they generate using those rules should be pretty similar. And this allows for data between different suppliers of the same product to be comparable. So if I'm selling shrimps and ITA is also selling shrimps and we both make EPDs, a consumer can go and look at them both and see what the difference is between our environmental data is. And so all of this provides transparency to consumers about the environmental information of our shrimps and any other product. Most EPDs currently in Australia are actually on construction products. There's not many on food. So the structure of an EPD is that EPDs aren't standalone documents. They have an LCA background report that goes with them. The LCA report is pretty much never public. It's for the reviewer to see that whoever's made the LCA report and EPD results has followed a consistent methodology, that they haven't just made things up, that they've followed the rules and guidelines and met all of the requirements. So that's the background report, and then there's the EPD document. This is the document that's online and public for everyone to see. Sometimes they're all done up and kind of marketed to be really pretty and they have nice pictures and nice diagrams. Some of them are a bit uglier than others because some companies just don't really care about their results. They just wanted an EPD because their consumers were demanding it. And then there's also a machine readable data set that you upload. And this is for, I guess, programs that take in EPD data. So when they calculate impacts, say for a building, they take in a concrete EPD data, they take in the door data, wood beams and all those, and they can calculate the impacts of their building. The machine readable data set is just an Excel, but I guess it's uploaded into the program so they can easily extract the results. And so the EPD system is run by the International EPD System. I believe they're from Sweden, and yeah, they just oversee it all. There are a lot of regional annexes to the EPD program. So in Australia, it's called EPD Australasia, and then there's a whole bunch of other regions, a few listed here, but there are many others as well. And they all just have regional EPDs for that area. The reviewer can be from anywhere, but I guess each region has kind of its own little quirks. They have their own rules. They mostly follow the international EPD system rules, but they might have small differences. And then the reviewer will just need to be aware of them. If they're not, sometimes you go to publish them and then EPD Australasia will be like, remove this picture from here, and then you go and remove it and then it's fine. But yeah, they don't have to be from the region. They just have to be familiar with the publishing of that region, I suppose. Yeah, cool. If you go onto the EPD website, actually, the international one, you can see all the, I guess, sister programs and all the other international programs that are similar, and find all the other regional EPD partners as well if you wanted more information. So standards. I thought I'd go through the standards behind a normal standalone LCA and an EPD. This includes the background report behind the EPD when I say EPD. So it's not just the EPD report itself, but also the background report. So with the normal LCA, it relies on the LCA standards. I think one's principles and one's requirements. And then generally the standards on environmental management with some on eco labels and carbon accounting and all that. For EPDs, they have similar ones, so environmental management, some quality, the LCA standards. This one's the Type 3 certifications, which an EPD is. And then specifically, the EPDs have general program instructions, and this applies to all EPDs, no matter the region, no matter the product. And then for construction products specifically, there's EN 15804 plus A2. I don't remember the full name of this, but it's something about construction products and sustainability. And then there are product category rules, which each EPD has to follow. There'll be different ones for different product categories. And then on top of that, there's also SC which is usually, when I look at them, there's nothing in them. Each heading inside them says, go look at this other standard. So I don't really know what they are for, to be honest.
There's slight variance on the PCR. I think they're allowed to, if you want to vary a PCR for a very specific product category, but often slight difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So compared to a normal LCA, there are quite a few differences. First one is the use of a declared unit or a functional unit. So a normal LCA, you would have heard of functional units, and that describes a specific function of a product. So if you had concrete and you specifically wanted it to be for a floor and you follow the life cycle to the exact construction site, its use in the building and then its end of life, you would use a functional unit. But if you didn't know the exact function of your product, you'd use a declared unit. So concrete, again, it could be used for flooring, it could be used for walls, it could be used for roads, concrete slabs, a lot of things. If you don't know the exact function, you would call it a declared unit, and this can meet a whole bunch of functions for different purposes. The next thing is the life cycle stages in an EPD. For construction EPDs specifically, they're usually split into modules, and they're shown here. So the modules A1, A2, A3, all these letters here, they dictate specific categories that you have to sort your, I guess, unit processes into. And this is how the results are declared in EPDs as well. So you won't see like one result for the whole product over its life cycle like you might for an LCA. You'll kind of see results for A4 specifically, B1, B2, etc. Usually A1 to A3 are grouped, but the rest have to be segregated and in their own category. You don't have to include every single module. You get to choose. If you go through one of the 700 standards, it will tell you specific rules on when to exclude them, which ones you have to include, and what rules you have to meet if you want to do only cradle to gate ones. So this is for construction specifically, but for other EPDs such as food, I think they don't have such strict modules like this. They just have them separated into upstream, core, and downstream, and they're not as intense usually. So in EPDs, there's no sensitivities or contribution analysis. I guess there's no need for a contribution analysis since they're already split into modules, so you can kind of see how much of the impact comes from where. Because it's just results, the interpretation section is a little more condensed. You don't really have to go into as much detail and explore every single thing. You're not really trying to find a specific answer to a specific question. You're just there to present a bunch of results about one product. So there's no comparative assertions in an EPD. You could have a comparative LCA, but an EPD is just for one product or multiple similar products. from one supplier. So you wouldn't have one supplier have like a range of their products in one EPD unless they're all pretty much the same. So like different kinds of concrete are similar enough, but say you sell concrete and doors and other construction materials, you'd have a separate EPD for each of those. And the results of EPDs are all disclosed to the public because all EPDs are publicized online. An LCA you can just have for internal purposes. Because of this, EPDs and the LCA background report for an EPD are all verified by a third party. So they go through everything you've done to make sure that you're not just writing random numbers down, putting them in a table. An LCA report doesn't have to be verified by a third party if it's just for internal use. The electricity rules in EPD modeling are a bit different to normal modeling. So you kind of have to use residual electricity, whereas in an LCA, you can just take whatever the grid electricity is. And then in EPDs, you can't have any biogenic carbon storage throughout the life cycle. It all has to come in and then go out at the end of life. Even if some might be stored in landfill indefinitely, you can't have that. And then there are a long list of specific indicators that you have to include in each EPD. So the GPI specifies exactly which ones, and this is relevant to any product category. Construction products have a few more compared to different kinds of products. So the core one that every single EPD needs to have is global warming potential. And this is split into 4 different categories: fossil, global warming, biogenic, land use and land use change, and then the total, which is basically a sum of the other 3. And there's also acidification, eutrophication, photochemical ozone creation, ozone depletion, abiotic depletion of minerals and metals, fossil depletion, and water deprivation. And those are the core indicators. But then after that, there are a few more special, I guess, indicators that all products need to include. And this is the first grouping of them: primary energy resources, renewable. So you have to kind of list use as an energy carrier, used as raw materials, and then total. And then there's a whole bunch of others. Yeah. And then the next few are optional, but must be included in construction products, but optional for the rest. So there's some more indicators. And then if you have a construction product, you have to include some waste flows and some output flows. And then you have like 10 more if you have a construction product. And then this isn't like, I guess, necessary. Like you don't have to in the GPI or any of the standards, but because there was an old standard of EN 15804 plus A1, they had different methods and different characterization factors for the results. So if you go back to some older EPDs, they will only have these results and not the other 57 indicators. A few of the construction product programs use these numbers. So sometimes we include them in your EPDs just so it's consistent. Okay, so I thought I'd go through a real EPD now. After speaking for so long about it, you might not have a good visual of what an EPD actually looks like. So this is the Australasian EPD website, which has all the EPDs published in the Australasian region. And I'll go through one of the ones we did most recently. This is one of the shorter EPDs. Doesn't have all the modules included, and they wanted a really short EPD, so it's not 50 pages like some of the other ones. So the cover page, you have to have a picture of your product and then a whole bunch of words like these specific standards that you're following. Has to have a company logo and then a whole bunch of other logos and information. And then there's a contents page, some more program information. You have to have a little bit about the company, a little bit about the product, specifically the industry classification. A lot of the time you'll also have the specific breakdown of physical components in it, which is here for this product. And then you'll have a little bit of LCA information. It's obviously not as expansive as the background LCA report, but enough for readers to know how the LCA was done. Some content declaration, which modules you're including, and some other little bits of information about data. A little system boundary with some text about what happens in the processes you're including. And then all the indicators. I'll just play through those. And then the results. So this was just one product. So the results are just really clear in one table. When you have multiple products, the tables can get quite large and you'll have a lot of numbers and you probably need like a PhD to learn how to read the EPD. But this one's pretty easy. And it just has results for A1 to A3 because this is just a cradle to gate EPD. And that's just it.